Hilary Scott, known most prominently as the frontwoman of LadyA, formerly known as Lady Antebellum, has been at the forefront of contemporary country music for the last 2 decades. Scott's prominence in the scene has grown significantly over the years as part of the band. Their music has become some of the best-selling of the genre in recent years and has seen Scott on the receiving end of many Grammy Awards. Born into the quintessential 3-chord paradise of Nashville, Tennessee, Hilary Scott found herself immediately submerged into the scene of country music. Her parents too were musically inclined. Her mother is Linda Davis, a country singer known best for her collaboration with Reba McEntire on Does He Love You? Davis has released 9 albums, 2 of those alongside family, and continues to be prominent in the music scene. Hilary Scott's father, Lang Scott, is also a musician. The occupations of her parents meant that for the first few years of her education, Hilary was on the road and thus homeschooled. However, as she grew older and started attending elementary school and later high school, she moved in with her grandparents for better stability. It was at this time in the 90s that her parents were touring around more. Hilary Scott also has a sister who is 14 years younger. Whilst Scott was busy with her education, she would engage in her mother's musical career. At one of Davis's Christmas shows, Hilary Scott joined her on stage. Only 14 at the time, this was a formative moment and solidified music as a career for her. Upon graduating high school, Scott attended Middle Tennessee State University to further develop her music skills and bring experience at the start of her career. She met country singer-songwriter Victoria Shaw whilst at university and worked with her to bring some publicity to Scott's music. Whilst this did not bring a musical deal for her, Scott garnered the experience she would later need in her work with LadyA. Hilary Scott finished university in the mid-2000s and embarked on establishing a solo career. She auditioned for American Idol twice, but this did not go far. Hilary Scott really struggled to generate recognition as a solo artist at this point. However, still involved in the music community, Hilary Scott communicated with artists on MySpace, one of these being her future bandmate, Charles Kelly. Scott and Kelly would later bump into one another at a Nashville bar, agreeing to work together. Kelly introduced Scott to another one of LadyA's future bandmates, Dave Haywood, and they began to work together writing songs. The 3 members initially wrote with the intention of it being for Hilary Scott's solo career. However, upon writing their first song, All We'd Ever Need, Scott felt that it needed to be a duet. Uniting the 3 together, All We'd Ever Need marked the formation of LadyA. Following with performances as the newly formed band, Hilary Scott and the band were signed to Capitol Records Nashville by 2007. In retrospect, Scott has noted that she prefers being part of a band as the responsibility is shared between people rather than all on herself. Within a year of being signed, LadyA brought out their debut self-titled album and contained a country style that Scott was familiar with. Furthermore, Victoria Shaw was involved in the production of the album. There was an anticipation for the debut single since their successful single, Love Don't Live Here, which found itself in the top 5 of the Billboard Country chart. So, upon release, Lady Antebellum did well with its sales of 43,000 in the first week of release and shooting up to number 4 on the Billboard 200 album chart. Over the next 2 years, as the band's popularity and fan base grew, their debut album reached record sales, which led to a double platinum certification of over 2 million copies in the US alone. It became evident that for Hilary Scott, her success would be found as a part of LadyA. LadyA's sophomore album, Need You Now, was released in early 2010 to positive critic reviews as well as great sales. Hilary Scott demonstrates her ability to serve pop vocals, which are catchy, controlled, and well projected, alongside the country backdrop of her bandmates' work. And 3 years later, Need You Now would become a quadruple platinum as certified by the Recording Industry Association of America. Whilst the album was well received as a whole body of work, there was an evident success in Scott's vocal craft for singles too. The lead single, Need You Now, became one of LadyA's most successful singles to date. Both Scott and Kelly sing on the track, weighing up verses and playing with relationship dynamics. Its subject matter speaks of loneliness that leaves you longing for any contact, even if it leads to regret. Hilary Scott embodies a darker and grittier tone than in some of their past work. Consequently, the track became demonstrative of Scott's more vulnerable side. Following the success of the first two albums and their first headline tour, LadyA and Hilary Scott experimented with EPs. A Merry Little Christmas, released later in 2010, saw Scott balancing classic old-school tone with a country edge. Momentum was sustained for their laid-back country pop record Own the Night, which featured masterful combinations of the three of their voices. Regarding herself as a collaborator, Hilary Scott works her voice perfectly amongst other vocals without being drowned out. Since their third release, Hilary Scott has made 5 more albums as part of LadyA. The most recent, Ocean, was released in November 2019. It marked the first album under BMLG Records and saw Scott singing more raw material. Aside from LadyA, Hilary Scott has worked alongside her family, known under the name Hilary Scott and the Scott Family. Their album, Love Remains, brought together Scott's parents and sister to sing a range of Christian country songs. The album also weaved in elements of bluegrass and gospel, revealing Hilary Scott's personal connection with the church. Love Remains was awarded 2 Grammys, Best Contemporary Christian Album and Best Contemporary Christian Music Performance/Song, for their single Thy Will. Hilary Scott has also collaborated with a range of artists across the genre. She, alongside the rest of LadyA, provided their vocals for Do I by country singer Luke Bryan. The band has also recorded with Dave Barnes. As well as providing vocals, Hilary Scott is also a renowned songwriter and has brought her skill into writing songs for other artists. Notably, she wrote Sarah Evans' A Little Bit Stronger and Suffocating by Miranda Lambert. Whilst Hilary Scott is now with her own family and sporting a quieter life, she remains active in the industry. LadyA is seen as one of the most successful artists in the country music genre, with no sign of stopping. Hilary Scott's dedication to songwriting and immaculate vocals has meant that her career is embarking on its 3rd decade. You can check out the Carly of Spotify to listen to the original tracks of the artist. It's a curated playlist with the most popular songs.